welcome to Elevenses with the reps at Diesel Bookstore. Thank you so much for joining us. Every Wednesday we get together here in our wonderful, safe, our safe book space at Diesel, and we meet with our wonderful publishers, representatives, and our booksellers, and we talk about all of the fantastic new and upcoming releases that our professionals want you to know about and tell you about. And every week, I know my to be read list expands exponentially. I've got at least 3 books working at the moment, and after today, there will be more. I know there will. And we have a couple of absolutely fabulous, my favorite reps here today to talk to you about these fantastic books. We're going to post links to everything we talk about today. We've got a lot to cover in the little chat area there, so you can go ahead and order them later at your leisure. And but before I introduce them, I do want to tell you about an event we've got coming up at Diesel on Sunday. That's going to be February 1st already. Can you believe it? Sunday is February 1st at 3 p.m. at Diesel. We are welcoming Joe Giese, and Joe will be discussing and signing You'll Never Walk Alone, and joining her in conversation will be Alex Vaughn, and that is going to be on Sunday again at 3 o'clock, February 1st. You don't want to miss that. All right, so now that I have talked about our event, and by the way, if you want to see the events that are coming up further on beyond the next week, just go ahead and go to www.dieselbookstore.com, and we've got it all right there. Everything you need to know, actually, is right there. All right, so who is joining us today to talk about books? My favorite people. We've got Andrea Tetrick from PGW, and we've got Julia Callahan from Hachette. And I don't know that anybody knows more than these two, really. And I can make it so much fun. So let's just leap right into it, shall we? Andrea, start us off.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks for those very kind words. Very moving. And I must say that the Southern California publisher reps, we have an amazing crew, and
the best.
It's just, and I started out, back in the DC area for the repping for PGW for the Mid-Atlantic, and I know, right? I mean, this is just a solid crew, and
I always forget that because you seem like just such a Californian through and through, you know. I always think of you as like of California. So.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I'm from the mountains of California, still live here, but I was out there and I started my career there after I left Tower Books, and so that's how I was out there as a publisher's rep. I was working out there as
across the street from where Julia worked, which is Book Soup.
Yes.
So we're all a tight little group here, aren't we?
Yep. Anyway, it's an honor and a privilege to work with all these great reps and also the fantastic booksellers in the region. So the first book I want to talk about today is The Hadacol Boogie. This is a Dave Robichaux novel by James Lee Burke. Old school mystery and crime writer, has a rabid cult following. He returns to the Dave Robichaux. What is my problem? I was telling these guys earlier, everyone out there, that I didn't sleep last night, and I guess I can't enunciate, pronunciate, or think very well, so please forgive me. Anyway, he returns here to the Dave Robichaux world, an iconic detective based in Louisiana. So he's back investigating the death of an unidentified woman who has been found, and he gets pulled back into the middle of a vortex of corruption and violence in the Louisiana bayou. So this is the 25th James Lee Burke novel. He's a New York Times bestseller. He still has, as I said, an amazing following and is getting great critical acclaim as well. His last book, Flags on the Bayou, won the Edgar Award last year for the best novel. So, he's not, the quality of his writing is not declining, and he's not calling it in, that's for sure. So this is in the store in a stack on one of the front tables at Diesel, and it's a $30 hardcover, 400 pages. So you get a lot of crime and corruption.
That's right.
Everybody, so it is an escape, okay?
Yes, it's an escape into a fun crime and corruption that we actually want to read about. Yeah. I'm so glad he keeps writing and he keeps producing these Robichaux novels, because they're so atmospheric. They're just really fun. And he keeps putting them out, and they've got a dedicated following. And even if you're new and you haven't read Burke before, you can leap right in. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that Atlantic Monthly, under their Atlantic Crime imprint, is developing new house authors, bringing established authors over from other houses, and that's a testament to the editorial quality and attention that they're paying to these authors of note from these other houses that I don't think they feel like they're getting as much attention as they're getting in crime, and it's really showing in the quality of the books that are coming out. So
I agree, and some of my favorite crime writers actually are at Atlantic now. So and it's so great that they're giving them a shot. So
it's great.
Thanks, Andrea. All right, Julia, what do you have for us first?
Okay, my first one is a personal favorite of mine. This is called Bertram Cope's Year by Henry Blake Fuller. So this is from Union Square, and Union Square has a collection called the Herald Classics, which I know Andrea has talked about McNally editions on here before, and it's sort of a similar concept, which is books that were in print at one point have gone out of print for various reasons, and the editorial staff at the Herald Classics read through a lot of this, older books and say, actually, this one is great and should be back in print. And so Bertram Cope's Year was originally written in 1919. Henry Blake Fuller was alive from 1857 to 1929. And the thing that his best known novel was called The Cliff Dwellers in 1893. And the thing about Bertram Cope's Year, this book that was, I'm going to repeat it, originally published in 1919, is it is one of the first, if not the first, queer novels, like gay novels in America. So it is a comedy of manners novel about this young academic, and he gets a teaching position at Midwestern University. And it's in a somewhat it's a college town, so people know each other and they chat as they are wont to do. And he becomes all these women think he's like very handsome. And then there are some rumors start to fly about perhaps the closeness of he and his housemate. And so it is like, it reads, honestly, when I read it, it reads like an Oscar Wilde novel. It's got that sort of comedy, that same, like I said, comedy of manners of like people, they're all trying to be polite, but they're also being extremely rude. And it is just like an utter delight to read. Ryan Washington did the intro to this one. And he, of course, wrote Lot and Memorial, And the introduction is great, but this book is just like, it's so much fun to read, and it's one of those books that reminds you that, like, you know, the reason that we go back to certain types of literature and certain books over and over again is because they're fun. And like, I always think about this with like Anna Karenina, where people think it's such a chore. You start reading it and it's just juicy. And this one is like, in a way, sort of similar. It's delightful. It's funny. It's still funny to this day. The jokes still land. And I just can't say enough. So Bertram Cope's Year by Henry Blake Fuller, with the intro by Brian Washington. And this is part of Union Square's Herald Classics. This one comes out next Tuesday on February 3rd. So
what a great looking package that is too. I love it. Really stands out. And I love what you said, Julia, about revisiting classics. And I don't know, we in the bookstore see this all the time. People are rediscovering Jane Eyre and finding different things in it. And I think that one of the elements of the classics rediscovered that we find when we go back is the subtlety. And I think subtlety is something that isn't huge in a lot of current literature. So I think that's kind of surprising and fun also for a lot of people, in addition to all the other things that you said. I hope it finds a whole new audience. That's great. Thanks, Julia. All right, Andrea, back to you.
Yeah, that is an amazing package. The cover is amazing. And I'm excited that book is coming back into print, just because to have that kind of, just bright prose and, comedy of manners type writing. I love that. And it's nice to see. And it's not easy to pull off either. It takes actually a lot of mastery to be so light on the page. So I'm glad that that's being rediscovered. For something totally different over here, A Killing in Cannabis, a true story of love, murder, and California weed by Scott Eden is out February 3rd. This is a $30 hardcover from Spiegel and Grau, one of our great publishers on the Two Rivers side of the distro lines here. And this award-winning investigative journalist lays out the 2019 murder in Santa Cruz of a tech entrepreneur, Tushar Atre. It was a shocking murder, and it all occurred at the nexus of Silicon Valley, the California surf culture, and the cannabis gold rush. And along the way, as this story unfolds here on the pages, Eden really exposes the dark side of the legal weed business. And Wright Thompson, the magisterial author of The Barn, says that this is a deeply reported literary nonfiction masterpiece. And what else does he say here? It's amazing. I'll look at my notes. A murder mystery that would work even if every word was made up, which that's saying a lot. So obviously it reads like a crime thriller, true crime, but it is true crime, but it reads like a crime thriller. And it's also it follows the sheriff department, the Santa Cruz Sheriff Department's huge investigation, and it's a true crime procedural as well. So anybody who's interested in true crime or I think fictional crime thrillers will be happy to pick this book up. It's getting amazing pre-pub reviews, and I think that it is going to get a lot of attention off of the book page, as they say, as well, because of the subject matter.
I can't stop looking at this cover. It's amazing. What an excellent cover that is. It's completely yeah. Draws right in.
Spiegel and Grau is just killing it right now for sure.
They are. Yeah.
Nonfiction and fiction wise, and more to come. Some big books this spring, which I'll be talking about.
I'm a fan, as you know, of nonfiction. I like I'm an omnivorous reader. I like everything, but I read a lot of nonfiction, and there just has been such. There's like this sudden influx of really readable, fabulous, like sort of true crime, but also just investigative type of nonfiction that just reads like reads like fiction. Julia was talking about the typewriter and the guillotine last week, and which I started because I heard Julia talking about it and it had been on my list, and then I was like, all right, that's it. And it's amazing. It just sucks you right in. It draws you right in, and you can't put it down. It's like a novel, and this looks to be like another one, which now is on my list as well. Okay. Thank you, Andrea. All right, excellent. Julia, back to you.
Yeah, it's on my list as well. Not in small part because that murder happened in the neighborhood I grew up in. So it's very close to home for me. So my next one, I'm also just we're gonna do something completely different. We're gonna talk about basketball. And this book is called Moses and the Doctor, Two Men, One Championship, and the Birth of Modern Basketball. And this is if you're a basketball fan, obviously this is going to be a great book. If you were around to watch Dr. J and Moses Malone play on the 76ers, you're going to have a great time. And if you weren't, what this is such a great history of the NBA and of basketball. And I think sometimes you watch those old film reels of sort of basketball in the 60s and stuff, and it looks so much different. And what this book is really about is these two guys, Dr. J and Moses Malone, Dr. Julius Erving and Moses Malone, and they were like street basketball players, right? And they were these guys who learned in their neighborhoods and played sort of street ball, and then made it eventually to the NBA. And the way that they played changed how basketball is played. So this is, it's a history of basketball in a way, but it is also at this, it really looks at this sort of pivot point where the NBA turned into what we now know as how players play basketball in the NBA. And so it talks about the 76ers. Basically, Dr. Erving or Dr. J and Moses Malone were on different teams at one point, and they were leading their teams to almost glory, and then they kept losing to the Celtics and the Lakers, as many people did in the 70s and 80s. And then they ended up both on the Philadelphia 76ers and led them to NBA championships. And it's just such an interesting sort of look at the way games are played and then the way that they're changed and who they're changed by. And I think if you're basketball, like I said, if you're a basketball fan, this is a big one. But even if not, it's a really fascinating history on how individual players, and then when you put certain players together, how they change a sport. So yeah, this is Moses and the Doctor. And it comes out, let me double check because I'm not here for a few weeks. So I went forward a little bit. It comes out on February 10th. So 2 weeks.
It's around the corner.
A week and a day. Yeah.
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 Another great cover there.
Yeah.
I know.
Just looking at it. And I wasn't I haven't been a long-term basketball fan, but my husband is, and so but really a basketball fan, and sometimes, but I asked him, what is it about, because he'll watch any sport, but basketball is, if it's not basketball season, he'll watch something else, but basketball is what he loves. So I said, explain it to me, what is it specifically about basketball? And he And he went into a little bit of what it looks like this book is about, really, about how the game is played and how the team works together, and how he's like, it's really like, of all of the sports, it's like a team. It's the team. Without a team, there's you can't have the sport. So so I get him all of the basketball books, obviously, and this one I will add to the list. We'll have like a little mini basketball library. But that looks great, Julia, for fans, and anybody who's interested, and also I think would probably make a great gift for the basketball lover on your list.
Definitely.
Thanks, Julia. All right, Andrea, back to you.
Okay. I have a book that is also publishing on February 10th. I won't be around until March, later in March after this session. And this is White Nights. And this is from Two Lines Press. And the author is Ursula Honeck, and she's Polish. And this is now shipping. And like I said, publishing February 10th. So it's winging its way to indie bookstores across the land, including Diesel. This was longlisted for the International Booker Prize last year, and it's set in a Polish village. It's 13 interconnected stories that each story returns to the same handful of people, that reveals new perspectives with each story based on the characters in the stories and how they're viewing this, the subject matter, the plots of each of these stories. And it's dreamlike and very beautiful lyrical writing, and that makes sense because this author is an established poet in Poland. So definitely top-notch writing and very lyrical. And these stories are so engrossing that you can sit down and read these in one long sitting. They just really reach out and grab you. And if you're not in the mood for a big long novel, this is the book for you. Something, a little palate cleanser for larger tomes that you might be reading. And this will appeal to readers that are into Southern Gothic and maybe even Rust Belt Noir. And I'm thinking Dorothy Allison, Brees DJ Pancake, and even I would say Douglas Stewart of Shuggie Bain fame. And I'll be talking more about Douglas Stewart in May. So yes, a little teaser. So there you go.
I keep hearing about this book. It keeps popping up on various radars that I have. I love the shifting perspective, and I also love it when poets write fiction. It's so good. Yeah, I would encourage more poets to write fiction. I think it's just beautiful. And the poetry, we talk a lot about novels versus short stories versus poetry, and how much you have to put into how much leeway you get in various forms, and everything's super distilled in a poem. And so you get, when poets write fiction, you get this really, it's it's short, but like there's so much in it, in every line pretty much. So very excited about this one.
Me too. I'm glad that it will be in stores soon. I forgot to mention that Two Lines Press they're based out of San Francisco, and they are dedicated entirely to books in translation. So that's their little niche.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrea. All right, Julia.
All right. Well, we finally have a connective tissue because I also have a book in translation. I also have a book in translation that I'm going to talk about, though. This one possibly a bit, I don't know if sillier is the right word for it, but perhaps it is.
Lighter.
This is the final lighter. There you go. The Final Problem by Arturo Perez-Reverte, translated by Francis Riddle from Spanish. Arturo Perez-Reverte is a much beloved author. He wrote The Siege. He wrote What We Become. He has dozens of books that have been translated to English, but hasn't had one in a little while. And this one is so fun. And I always feel weird saying that about a book that's really has murder at the center of it. Because this is a murder mystery. It takes place at a White Lotus type of resort in 1960 Greece. And one of the people staying at this resort where this murder happens is a somewhat of a washed up actor, but an actor that throughout his career has played detectives throughout his career. And so decides that this murder happened at the resort, he will be the one to solve the crime. So it's got a dash of Agatha Christie. It's got some satire. It's got, like I said, a dash of White Lotus. It is an absolute joy to read and just like one of the most fun murder mystery books I have ever read. I do love a cast of real true characters. It's like I will say it has been picked up by Netflix. We'll see if it actually does anything, but Netflix has picked it up. This author, I mean, you can't go wrong with him. I have a lot of booksellers that when they saw him were like so excited that he had a book, a newly translated book. It also got a starred review in Publishers Weekly, so we've been getting some real great feedback about it already. This book comes out February 10th again, but just if you need something to sort of take you away from it all, this one is a great one to do that.
This really looks like fun, and I think this would be a great series. Actually, this sounds like a lot of fun. I apologize for what's happening with my computer. Has decided I need to be in witness protection suddenly.
I know. Wow.
I
feel like
I don't know what's happening.
News night or something.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, help. Yeah, so I apologize for that. But I do want to say, and I'll disembodied voice. I'm really sorry. I'm trying everything. Nothing's working. Okay. We have a bonus round today because we only have Andrea and Julia. So our luck, we get a bonus pick from each of you. So Andrea, why don't you give us your bonus pick today?
Okay, thanks so much. This comes out February 17th, and it's not in stores yet either, but it soon will be. There'll be another front of store stack at Diesel, and this is Ashland, and this is by Dan Simon. It's a lyrical debut novel by the publisher and founder of Seven Stories Press, a small indie press that I had the honor and privilege of representing when I first started out at Publishers Group West some 27 years ago. Yes. And it's a story set in a small town in New Hampshire where, despite its economic downturn and the scene of better days, is still a place of grace and dignity. And this is something to aspire to, I feel, at this moment in our history. And it's getting great early reviews from not only, the industry review rags, but also Dan Simon's fellows. And Andrew Solomon compared this book, says that it's like a modern Thornton Wilder with a touch of Faulkner. So come on, I mean, can't go wrong there. That's pretty great. And it's one of those books that we just feel, it has like a little bit of an old-fashioned feel to it in terms of the read, but it's not a snooze fest by any means. It's just got some depth and heart to it, and we feel that it's going to make a splash, and it's going to be a buzz book. A lot of people are going to come to this book by word of mouth and hand selling at the indie bookstore level. So,
You know, I'm already a Europa fan. I love Europa editions. They're really great books. I can't wait to read this book. I have it. It's on my stack. It's really it's been calling to me. So
yeah,
excellent.
and Europa doesn't often publish American authors. They mostly do
Right.
European,
Right.
Japanese, sometimes Chinese authors by in translation. So that's saying something when they choose an American book to publish. So
Thank you so much, Andrea. All right, Julia. And this will be the last book of the day.
All right, I'm trying to make it a good one. So this is
no, make it a bad one. Let's have a terrible book.
I know. I know. What if so this is Little One by Olivia Muenter. And this book is it's so good. It is about this woman, and when you meet her, she's sort of working office job. She's living a very low-key life. And one day she gets an email from a journalist who asks basically if she is the same person that was raised in this cult in Central Florida, and starts asking questions about what she knows. And so no one in her life now knows that she was raised in a cult, that her father was this sort of cult leader, and that she had to get away from this place that she was raised. And so she sort of has to go back and you as the reader go back with her to sort of see not just what happened, but also how she got out, how she survived. It reminded me a little bit of Lauren Groff's Arcadia. If you remember, that was one of her, I think it was her second book. But similar sort of thing, or similar sort of idea. And this is just like, it's such a great look at both like the true crime, the sort of culty true crime, salaciousness, and then also the real lived experience of this person who had to escape. And I think what's interesting too is like this idea of like, because I think a lot of times we look at like people who join cults rather than people who were raised in one. And so it really kind of like gets into that and how she has to sort of break free of this thinking. And I just, it is gripping. It is a great read. It really like sucks you in from the get-go. So this one comes out next week, next Tuesday, the 3rd. And Olivia Muenter also wrote Such a Bad Influence. That was a big USA Today bestseller. But she's just a great writer, and this is a really fascinating book, and I think it's juicy. So it's very fun to read.
I will, again, having had experience in this area, am fascinated and will read any book that has anything to do with cults. And I continue as time goes by and we live in this world that we're in to be fascinated by cults, appeal of cults, how they work, how they even cults that aren't, particularly prominent kind of a thing. There's like all kinds of like mini cults that exist as well.
Sure.
And yeah, and you make an excellent point, Julia, about being raised in a cult as opposed to joining one later on. And there's just such a lot there, such a lot. And this book is, even if you're not somebody who is fascinated as fascinated by looking at it from different angles as I am, it goes in some very interesting places, and it's really, really interesting to read, and very exciting book. Great one to end with, actually.
There you go.
And all of them, I knew you would bring it, the two of you, and you have, once again. Some absolutely fantastic books. The To Be Read pile has expanded again. Luckily, there are some in here that I actually have read, know about already. But hopefully it has expanded for you also watching. And again, all of these are available at Diesel. You can just click through on the links there and order them to pick up or come into the store and find even more. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much for presenting these fabulous books. Andrea Tetrick from PGW, Julia Callahan from Hachette. I'm so bummed that we won't see you for a while, but I know that when you are back, you will have even more amazing books. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to Joey for who's behind the scenes posting the covers and the links and everything. Thanks, Joey. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you all. And we will be back again next week. We will have more reps. We will have more books to talk about, and we will go down more fabulous booky rabbit holes. So please come back again next week and join us. And until then, everybody have a great week, and we will see you then. Bye, everyone.